Hi students, welcome back to the next video of this chapter, which contains some leftover topics and some questions, and finally the quick revision. Okay, so the very first topic of this video is the role of the public prosecutor. Now, as by far I have told you that what is a prosecutor, but in order to recall, I will tell you again. Prosecutor is basically a person who represents the state and is responsible for making the accused person guilty by presenting some statements of the witnesses, collection of the evidences in the court to the judge. Now, in the very simple language, let me explain you this. So basically, you might have seen in the movies that there are two lawyers fighting for the case in the court. That is not how it works. So basically, there is one defense lawyer who represents the accused person and interrogates the victims, and the victims with whom the actual crime has happened, basically the true victims who have filed the FIR and then have filed the petition in the court. Basically, the victims have a public prosecutor which is provided by the government, who basically represents them. So the accused person is represented by the defense lawyer and the victims are represented by the public prosecutor provided by the government, who basically is responsible for presenting the statement of the witnesses, the evidences and the true facts inside the court to the judge, and cross-examine the defense lawyer. So basically, the public prosecutor represents the state and the defense lawyer represents the accused person. Now you might wonder that what do I mean by state? I've also told you that basically the victim is told or considered to be the state, since when the victim is victimized through the crime, not only the victim is affected but the entire state is also affected, since the crime has happened in the particular state, let's say Jharkhand. So in that particular state, not only the victim will be victimized or will be affected or their family will be affected, but also it is a shame for the entire state that that particular crime happened in the state. So the victims are considered or represented by the name state. So when we say that a case has been going on, we don't say the name of the victim versus the accused person. We always say state versus the accused person, because we are trying to say that the crime basically has affected the entire state and the public prosecutor is fighting against the entire state for the good of the entire state. So here the public prosecutor is basically responsible for making the accused person guilty by representing the statement of the witnesses, by the collection of the evidences and the true facts in the court to the judge, and he basically represents the state, whereas the defense lawyer represents the accused person. Now you might wonder that don't the victims have lawyers? So in case that the victims feel that their prosecutor is not that good, they can also hire a lawyer. But the lawyer has only the power to advise the public prosecutor as to which evidence he could represent in the court or how could he represent the evidences, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, at the day of the case, the public prosecutor will be the only one who will represent the evidences and not the lawyer in the case of the victim. The lawyer in this case will only have the power to advise the public prosecutor. At the end of the day, everything will be done by the public prosecutor himself. Okay, so I think that you might have now understand that what is the role of the public prosecutor and who is the public prosecutor. Okay. So why is the prosecutor called as a public prosecutor? So it is quite evident that the prosecutor basically represents the state, right? And he indirectly helps the public, right, in getting the justice, okay, in the court. So basically, prosecutor is the person who is responsible for getting the accused person guilty and giving the justice to the victims. So he's indirectly helping the public. That is why he's called as the public prosecutor, because he's helping the public to get the justice in the court. Okay. So what is the role of the judge? So we all know who is a judge. So as to explain this in a very simple language, judge is the umpire who makes impartial decision on the basis of the evidences, the statement of the witnesses, and the true facts presented by the public prosecutor in the court. So by now we have understood the judge is the person who makes the final judgment. Okay, and in case that each and every evidence and the statement of the witnesses are in the favor of the victim and make the accused person guilty, then the judge makes a punishment. Judge announces a punishment for the accused person in case the accused person is announced guilty. Okay, in case the accused person is found guilty, then a punishment is announced by the judge on the basis of what is prescribed in the law. Now what do I mean by what is prescribed in the law? So basically for each and every punishment, for each and every crime, there is a punishment that has already been prescribed, already been written in the constitution. Let's say for a murder, it is written that the person will be given life imprisonment. Okay, so in case that in a court the accused person is a murderer and he is found guilty for his murder. He is found that okay, he is the person who has done the crime, who has done the murder. Now the judge has basically made the announcement that this person, this accused person is the murderer and he is found guilty and he will be given the punishment of life imprisonment. Now the judge over here gave the punishment not on his will or her will, that okay, now he feels like giving life imprisonment, so he is giving life imprisonment to the murderer. One day he feels like giving sentence to death, so he will give the punishment of sentence to death to the murderer. This is not how it works. The judge will only give the punishment on the basis of what is already written in the constitution. In case that the accused person is a murderer and he is found guilty, the judge will give the punishment of what is written in the constitution. The punishment which will be written in the constitution for a murderer will be the punishment that will be given to the accused person. The judge will not make a punishment inside his head according to him, and it won't change in each and every case. Already in the constitution, the punishments are written for each and every crime in under different sections and articles. So the judge always prescribes the laws and the articles, the sections that have already been written in the constitution while announcing the punishment for the crime of the accused person. He always considers that. He does not do it according to his will. Already the punishments of each and every crime is written. So if a accused person is found guilty according to his crime, he considers the punishments written in the constitution and announces the punishment according to it. As we all know, that rule of law, that law is above everyone, is all obviously above the judge also. The laws are above the judge also, so the judge also has to follow the laws written in the constitution. Moving on. Okay, so there is a question saying that what did the judge say in Shanti's case after hearing the testimony of all the witnesses? So as we know that in the case of Shanti, she was found innocent, right? And there was some other group of boys who were involved in the stealing of the gold chain and not Shanti. So in this particular entire case, when it was proven that Shanti is innocent and the other boys were being found guilty, judge basically told the Sub-Inspector Rao that he did not do his homework properly, that he did not do his investigation properly, he did not collected the evidences properly, he did not interrogated Shanti or Mr. and Mrs. Shinde properly before filing the FIR or before arresting Shanti. He should have interrogated, he should have investigated, he should have collected the evidences, he should have recorded the statement of the witnesses before filing an FIR or before arresting Shanti. If he would have done that properly, this wouldn't have happened today. So this was basically what judge said to Sub-Inspector Rao after she was proven innocent, because Sub-Inspector Rao did not investigate it properly before arresting her, did not asked Mr. and Mrs. Shinde certain questions as to where did they see their chain last time, or do they even remember when did she wore it last time, or S.I. Rao should have asked the other houses where she works as if how loyal she is, or if the similar case has happened in their house also, and after all that interrogation he should have arrested her. So this is what judge said to Sub-Inspector Rao. Okay, So now there is another topic which is a free trial, which is very important. So we by now have covered a lot many topics, and now this is the most important topic out of the all, which basically tells that what is a fair trial and what is not. What do we mean by this? So basically, as we understood in the example of Shanti, wherein before she was being arrested, before the case basically started in the court, police filed a charge sheet to the magistrate. After that, Shanti was being provided by a defense lawyer because she couldn't afford to have one, because she couldn't afford to hire one. Then after that, her defense lawyer was being allowed to cross-examine, that means interrogate against the public prosecutor. Also, proper legal proceedings were being followed in the case of Shanti before she was being presented in the court. So this basically tells that there was a fair trial. Now, right now you might not understand what I'm trying to say, but in the other slides you will try to join the dots what I'm trying to actually say. So let's read what's written on the slide. Article 21 of the Constitution, right to life, states that a person's life or liberty can be taken away only by following a reasonable and just legal procedure. So basically, right to life now is a very broad right. It has many other rights in this particular one right. It has right to have right to livelihood, which says that a person should have health amenities, basic educational amenities, and accommodation to live in, and so on and so forth. And this right to life also has one more right, that a person shouldn't be imprisoned or announced a punishment in case without even providing proper legal procedures. Now that a person, for example, let's say that a person is accused of being a murderer, okay, and is directly put in the prison and given the punishment of sentence life imprisonment. Now here in this case, the person is accused of being a murderer and directly put into the jail without being even given the chance to fight in the case. Now here, the accused person is basically was deprived of his right to get to fight in the court, right? So here in this case, he was not given proper legal rights. Here the legal procedure was, there was a lack of legal procedure. So this does not happen in the country, that a person is accused of being a murderer and the person is directly put into the jail and being given the punishment of life imprisonment. No, this does not happen. Here there is a lack of legal procedure. Here the person is not even given the chance to fight in the court, right? He's not even given the chance to fight in the court. Here there is a lack of legal procedure. We'll understand this in the other slides, which says that basically in the case of Shanti, right, she was being given the defense lawyer. The defense lawyer was allowed to cross-examine. That means that the defense lawyer was allowed to interrogate, ask questions to the victims, ask questions to the public prosecutor, collect the evidences, and so on and so forth, right? And the defense lawyer, she was being given the defense lawyer even though she wasn't she could not afford to hire one. She was given the defense lawyer according to the Article 22 prescribed in the Constitution. She was being given the defense lawyer. The defense lawyer was allowed to cross-examine, and even after that, the judge did not assume Shanti to be guilty. Now there could be a possibility that the judge could assume that, okay, Shanti is swore, so maybe she has done the crime, right? There is a possibility that she swore, so maybe she has stolen the chain. If the judge would make such a judgment, such assumption before the case, he wouldn't be able to make a partial decision. And so a fair trial includes that the judge should not assume the accused person guilty before he is actually proven guilty. Okay, so now let's understand the features of the fair trial properly. So the very first feature is held in open court in public view, which means that if a case is being fought, it should be in the presence of the victim, it should be in the presence of the accused person, it should be in the presence of the public prosecutor, the defense lawyer, which means that if a case is being fought, it's not like the accused person is not present and he is given the punishment even if he's not present in the court, the case is being fought. It is against fair trial. It is an unfair trial if the accused person is not present in the court. It means that it was not an open court. So it is very important for the fair trial that each and every person is present. The accused person is present, the victim is present, the public prosecutor is present. In the presence of everybody, a judgment is made. This means an open court. The second point says that the accused is present and defended by the lawyer, which means that the accused person is given the defense lawyer who will represent him, right? So a fair trial also includes that the accused person is given the defense lawyer. The accused is innocent until proven guilty. This is what I actually told you, that the accused person shouldn't be assumed by the judge that okay, he's guilty before he's actually proven guilty. Otherwise, the judge won't be able to make a impartial decision, right? And this is what this point says, that the accused is innocent until proven guilty. If he would be assumed by the judge that he is guilty before he is actually proven guilty, then the judge won't be able to make an impartial and unbiased decision, which would be actually very unfair. So accused is innocent until proven guilty. Okay. Now the rule of law applies to all. It says that law is above everything and each and every person is given equal laws. So basically the crux of fair trial is that a fair trial basically says that a person should be given, the accused person should be given defense lawyer. The second point says that the accused person, the case should be held in an open court, that each and every person should be present while the case is going on. The third point says that the defense lawyer should be given the right to cross-examine, that should be given the right to interrogate the victim and the public prosecutor. The fourth point says that the accused is innocent until proven guilty. And the very last point says that laws should be applicable to everyone and each and every one should follow the laws, and laws are above everyone. Not even the president, neither the prime minister, not even the wealthiest person of the country is allowed to violate the laws. In case that they violate, they will be punished for the same. So this is what fair trial is based. This is what fair trial is. I'll explain you this again in a very simple language since it is a little complicated. So basically fair trial means that a person shouldn't be punished if in case that proper legal procedures are not followed. According to the Article 21, if a person is punished, so basically fair trial says that a person shouldn't be punished or cannot be punished according to Article 21 if proper legal procedures aren't being followed. A person has the right to not get punished until the proper legal procedures are being followed according to Article 21 of the Constitution. This means that even if there is an accused person who is not being proven guilty yet, and he is accused of being the murderer and he is put into the jail, this is against his right. This cannot happen in a country that a person in case is accused of being a murderer. He is not even proven guilty for the crime, but before being even proven guilty in the court, he is already being put into the jail and being announced the punishment of life imprisonment. This cannot happen because here the legal procedures were not being followed. Proper legal procedures were not being followed. And what are the proper legal procedures? That the accused person gets the defense lawyer, that the entire case happens in the open court. The third is that the defense lawyer happens to get the right of cross-examining, that is investigating, interrogating. The fourth says that the accused is innocent until proven guilty, and the very fourth is rule of law applies to all. If all these legal procedures happen, this means that there is a fair trial in the country. Okay. Write in your own words what you understand of the following processes based on the description of Shanti's case. Okay, open court. Open court basically means that there is a presence of each and every one. In the case of Shanti, there was a presence of defense lawyer, there was a presence of public prosecutor, Shanti's brother, the victims and the judge, and the witnesses also. So if in case that there is a presence of each and everybody, the evidence, the witnesses, the public prosecutor, the defense lawyer, the police, the judge, the victims, that this means that there is an open court. Basis of the evidence. Now, what do we mean by basis of the evidence? Basically, the evidence which are being collected through interrogation, through the statement of the witnesses, are known as the evidence. And on the basis of the evidence, the judge makes the decision at the end and announces a decision, an impartial decision. The very third is the cross-examination of the prosecution witnesses. This means that according to the fair trial legal procedures include one of the right which says that the defense lawyer should be given the right to cross-examine. That means the defense lawyer should be able to be given the right to ask the prosecutor that some questions, so that she can prove her accused person innocent. So she should be given the right to ask questions to the victim, to the prosecutor, that okay, where did you see your chain last time, or did you even know where did you when did you last time wore it, do you even remember it, or where did you went last night when the house was empty. So questions like this would basically help the defense lawyer to prove the accused person innocent, which is basically the responsibility of the defense lawyer. So the defense lawyer should be given the right to cross-examine from the victim, from the public prosecutor, which basically will help him prove the accused person innocent. Okay, moving forward, discuss what might have happened in Shanti's case if the following procedures had not been observed. If she were not defended by a lawyer, if the court had not assumed her to be innocent. So the very first says that if she were not defended by the lawyer. In case Shanti were not being defended by the lawyer, it wouldn't make it a fair trial, because there is an absence of the legal procedure, there is an absence of the defense lawyer. Shanti would be given a punishment without even being able to give the chance to present herself in the court, and that would be completely unfair against the right to life under the Article 21 of the Constitution. So that will be completely unfair. If the court had not assumed her to be innocent, then the judge wouldn't be able to make a impartial decision. The judge would make an partial decision that would go against Shanti, and again Shanti, being an innocent person, would be given the punishment, which would be very unfair and against the right to life prescribed in the Constitution under Article 21. State 2 reasons why you believe that different persons need to play different roles as part of the criminal justice system. So basically the 2 reasons, the very first could be that if one person would be given all the roles, then there could be a possibility that the person wouldn't be able to make the right decision, since we know that each and every person has a quality. One person cannot handle all the roles, right? He has cons and he has pros, so he should be given a role that he is good at. And a person is it's not possible for a person to be good at all the roles, and there is a possibility that if one single person will be given all the roles, there could be a possibility that he would make a wrong decision, he would make a mistake, since one person cannot be good at everything. And the second reason why not one person should be given all the roles is that because if one person will be given all the roles, then that would make a person very important, right? Because one person has been given all the roles, and this will make a person feel very important, and there is a chance that by feeling very important, there is a chance that the person might misuses his power, because if a person will be given so many roles, obviously the responsibility will be more, the power that will be given along with the responsibility will be more, and so there is a possibility that the person can misuses the power, right? Because he feels he is very important, he has been given all the roles, and in the feeling of being important, there is a possibility that he would misuses his power and make the wrong decision. So each and every person should be given different roles, since each person has a quality, and they should be given the role according to their quality, and this will also help in making a right decision. Also helps in avoiding any kind of misuse of power. Okay, so this brings us to the quick revision and the end of the chapter. Okay, so the very first point says that there are 4 key players in the criminal justice system. That is the police, which helps in filing the FIR, the public prosecutor, who is responsible for making the accused person guilty, the defense lawyer who represents the accused person, and the judge who makes the final judgment by listening to the evidences and the statement of the witnesses and the interrogation of the defense lawyer and the public prosecutor. The very second point says, an investigation includes recording statement of witnesses and collecting different kinds of evidences. Yes, very true. So the investigation is basically the responsibility of the police. An investigation includes interrogation, it includes recording of the statements and different kinds of collection of evidences. The third point is the role of the public prosecutor begins when the police have filed a charge sheet. Very true. When the police files a charge sheet in the court to the judge explaining the crime which has taken place, the offense that has taken place, then the public prosecutor comes into the picture to represent the state. The role of the police begins with the lodging or an FIR in the police station. Yes, so basically the responsibility of the police is to investigate, and the investigation starts only when the FIR is filed in the police station. A fair trial ensures that Article 21 of the Constitution is upheld. Yeah, so the fair trial basically means that basic legal procedures are being followed, and in case that the legal procedures are not being followed, that will violate the fundamental right to life of the people under the Constitution, Article 21. So a fair trial indirectly ensures the Article 21 of the Constitution. Okay. Article 22 of the Constitution states the right to be defended. Now, what does this mean? So basically, Article 22 says that. So Article 22 basically gives some right to the person who is being arrested at the time of the arrest. The rights are as follows. Basically, the police has to follow some guidelines, which includes that the person who is being arrested will be informed why he is being arrested. The person who will be arrested will be given the warrant, which will basically will have the information. It will contain the information as to when he is being arrested, why, and the date, time of the arrest, etc., etc. He will be given the chance to inform his family members, his friends, as to that he has been arrested. So these are basically some guidelines, some policies that the police has to follow, and these are some rights that are being given to the accused person at the time of the arrest. Article 39A states that the state shall provide lawyer to a person who cannot access or afford to one. As we understood in the example of Shanti, that she was very poor and she could not afford to hire a lawyer. So the government, the police officers by themselves provided her the lawyer, right, the defense lawyer. So this is basically a right which is under the Article 39A, which states that the state will provide you the lawyer in case you are unable to hire a lawyer. Okay. D.K. Basu guidelines have to be followed at the time of arrest or detention of any accused person. Yeah, so at the time of the arrest, the police has to follow some guidelines, which are that the police has to have a proper identification. So you might have seen there is a plate on the chest which says that which tells the name of the police officer and the position of the police officer. A proper identification is to be there at the time when you are arresting the accused person. Okay. The second is that a proper warrant is to be given to the accused person, that as to why he is being arrested at the date and the time of his arrest, etc. And the third is that he should be given the chance to tell his friends or family whether that he is being arrested. In the previous slide wherein I told you guys that under Article 22 there are some rights that are given to the accused person at the time of the arrest. So I mistakenly mixed the two of them, the policies and the rights. I'm so sorry. So the rights which are basically given to the accused person at the time of the arrest according to Article 22 are that at the time of the arrest or after the arrest, the person cannot be ill-treated in the custody. Okay, and if the person has been arrested, he or she has to be presented in the magistrate within the time frame of 24 hours. And there was one more right that says that in case that the accused person makes a statement like he has done the crime. In case that he makes the statement that he has done this crime, still that statement won't be valid. The police cannot use that statement to punish the accused person. That statement will be completely invalid in the court. Even though police will tell the judge that this person made this statement, that statement will be completely invalid in the court. The judge will ask the accused person again to make a judgment there itself. So any statement that is being said in the court will be only validated. Anything that will be said outside the court will be totally invalid. So the last point says that the rule of law must be upheld by the judge in making judgments based on evidence, and only if the prosecution is able to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the accused is guilty. Now, what do we mean by this? So what does this mean? Prosecution is able to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the accused is guilty. What do we mean by this? The prosecutor, as I told you, is responsible for making the accused person guilty. Now, if his responsibility is to make the accused person guilty, he could do it by unfair means also. He could present the fake facts or fake evidences or fake interrogations. No, the judge won't make the judgment on the basis of the fake facts. The prosecutor will have to present true facts, true evidences, and true witnesses in the court in order to prove the accused person guilty. And the facts and the evidences should be 100% true to be able to prove the accused person guilty. This is what we mean by prosecution is able to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the accused is guilty. Beyond reasonable doubt means there should be enough evidences to prove the accused person guilty. There shouldn't be lack of evidence, and there shouldn't be a doubt in the mind of the judge before making a decision that the accused person is guilty. The prosecutor should be able to provide enough evidences, enough witnesses in order to prove the accused person guilty, and the judge will only make the decision on the basis of the true facts and the true evidences. This brings us to the end of the chapter. We'll connect in the next chapter. By then, thank you so much for joining me on Study Room.